going to solve the problems that we have. We are never going to get anywhere until you decide that you individually care enough about your community to do something about it. 910 AM Superstation. We're the hottest station in town. 6 o'clock in the morning. You've got to be there by 7 o'clock. You've got 1 hour to get there. You're listening to 910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only urban talk radio station. The number here in the studio is 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. Good morning to those of y'all that are up and in the feed already. Good morning, Curtis. Good morning, Marcia. Especially good morning to Crystal P, the comedian. If y'all follow Crystal on social media, you know that she was up at 4:37. Y'all know that I'm up at that time of morning every morning. But I'm up getting ready for the show, getting ready to talk to you, to reach out and talk to each and every one of you in the morning. Crystal's not usually up that early in the morning, but she's up this morning because it's her birthday. And she apparently officially considers her birthday once the time that she was born, which apparently is 4:37 in the morning. Once that hour hits, then she considers that's officially her birthday, not at midnight. So I'm glad to see that Crystal was up at 4:30 and basically bringing you up to speed on stuff. Crystal, if you want to call in and tell everybody about your upcoming show that's coming on in May, you know the number, sister, 313-778-7600. This morning I want to talk about the Urban League and the report that they put out. You know that the Urban League regularly every year, they pride themselves on putting out a report on the state of Black America. You know that there are plenty of other organizations and government agencies that put out a state of the state, state of the union, state of each and every individual city. What Urban League has, excuse me, for years, put out a report on the state of Black America, which basically sums up what's happened in the last year and what we can expect to happen in the future. Their report this year is puts out, I mean, I guess it's sort of like the state of some of the other things that have been put out. It does not paint a rosy picture. It doesn't tell you things are perfect and that things are going great and you know, everything's going to be, you know, sunshine and roses in the future. No, the report tells you something entirely different. The report basically sounds an alarm, and the report, it's sent out to and it's picked up by many other organizations, and everybody shared it. All of the regular media. Good morning, Crystal. I see you just jumped in one of the feeds. Before you got on, I already said happy birthday, but I'll say happy birthday to Crystal again. And if you want to dial in, 313-778-7600 and update everybody on the premiere you've got coming up in May, you're more than welcome to, because it's your birthday. Back to the Urban League and their report. The Urban League report points out that as it relates to those of us in the African American community, the fight to take part in and to receive all of the benefits of living in this democracy, the fight has gotten hard and it's gotten worse, and it's not really on a path towards everybody being included in the melting pot. Particularly the fight as it stands right now is mostly a fight for us to even wind up being recognized as African Americans. And the report points out over and over and over again that it's not just a Florida problem. We're all very well aware, because Florida receives a lot of media attention, that Florida is attacking the rights of African Americans or trying their best to stop any further growth of members of the African American community in the state of Florida by deliberately doing things like, we're going to erase your history, we're going to rewrite your history, we're going to punish any teacher if they try and teach about the history of the interactions between whites and blacks in this country. We're going to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion. And those things, the stuff that is being currently espoused out of the mouth of Florida's current governor in his quest to wind up following in the footsteps of Donald Trump, those things all wind up adding up to a to the point where they've got to at least warn African Americans that Florida is not a hospitable place for you. Florida is not someplace you should be going down and jumping on an airplane to fly down there and go invest your money and buy a home and any of that other stuff. That Florida doesn't want you. So even though we know that the Urban League and other organizations have sounded the alarm about Florida, it's not just Florida. The report by the Urban League points out that these same measures have either already been adopted or in the process of being adopted in many other southern, I'm going to point that out, southern states, such as Tennessee, and we talked about this last week, moving measures in Tennessee and Mississippi to take over by white controlled legislatures, deciding that they're going to take over majority run Black cities. They can't win an election in those cities, and so they've decided, well, the Black folks are just going to keep voting for people that we don't like, so we're just going to come in and take over that city. There are measures in other states all mirroring exactly what Ron DeSantis has done in Florida, in Oklahoma, in Texas, and a number of other states where they've got similar popularities, where those folks who voted for Donald Trump, those folks who hate they've gone into every school board meeting that they can, adopted, I think there's a total of about 600 plus measures where they've all said, oh, we don't want you teaching critical race theory in the schools. They're not going to be bothered by the fact that they don't teach critical race theory in elementary school, that it is a law school concept designed to point out that many of the policies that have been put into place in this country have been put into place in order to maintain the role of white Americans and to keep them in the position where they are superior to Blacks. And though there are states all over who A, deliberately are lying about what critical race theory is, and B, are going out of their way to say, we don't want you to teach that. We're not saying it's not true. We're just saying we don't want you to teach it. We don't want you to point that out. We don't want you to wake people up. And they've decided that they really, really, really are going to attack anything that they consider quote unquote woke. Let's be careful here. They don't have a clue what being woke is. They've never ever listened to, wake up everybody, no more sleeping in bed. They are not aware of the fact that in our community for 50, 60 years, we've asked members of other people to know, listen, are you asleep on what's going on in society, or are you going to awaken to all of the injustices that are going on? No, they've decided that they use, and be careful when you watch them and listen to them, they use the phrase woke. They are attacking anything that anything in any way, whether it is Sesame Street, whether it is other programs that teach kids to accept people the way they are, anything like that. Anything that they see is moving towards an inclusive society, they consider that woke, and they're attacking it, and they don't want, and they are pushing everything that they call anti-woke. The Urban League points out in their report that African Americans, this report, and for those of you that want to call in and say, but it also applies to gays and the other communities as well. Yeah, the Urban League is not writing a report about that, and that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the Urban League is pointing out that the current state of Black America is you and any policies towards moving you into being part of this democracy and being included in society. Every single thing that they can find where you've done it is being attacked. They're not out and out just coming out and saying, we're going to use the N-word. No, they are in a position where they've said, you know what? We are going to do everything we can to undercut all of those policies, and we're going to try and do it. It's the old, we're going to throw a rock and hide our hands. We're going to try to destroy the policies, but we don't want you to see us doing it because we want to try and hide it. 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. Oh, the birthday girl is on the line. Let's go to Crystal. Good morning, Crystal. How are you?
Good morning. How's it going?
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know what? The thing about Florida is this is not just Rick DeSantis. This has been going on slowly but surely since Jeb Bush, Charlie Crist, Rick Scott, and all the governors in Florida that came before Rick DeSantis. I have been talking about this years ago. Texas is another one. It's more blatant now, and it's really sad that a lot of the blacks in these southern states are reactive as more than proactive. We're waiting to vote and get these policies out when we should have been jumping on this stuff years ago because it's always been there. The writing has been on the wall. Many of us have ignored it, and now they're a little more blatant with it. And because there are other big things like Disney and Florida who's against the policies, it makes things more pronounced because it's like now you got this tug of war going on with the Republicans and with basic humanity, not just black people, but all people. Anything that is not Chris, Caucasian, rich, and white, they don't want.
They don't want you talking about it. They don't want to have to
Yeah.
look their kids in the face when their kids come home from school and say, guess what we learned? They say, oh my God, no, we don't want our kids learning that. Tell you what, we're going to take that out of the schools and we're going to tell you, you can't teach our kids about what we did in the 50s or the 60s. You can't teach our children any of the stuff. When you're at a point that you want to rewrite the Rosa Parks story and you want to eliminate any mention of race, you are clearly, you've lost your way. So, but before we wind up going to break, tell everybody about what you've got coming up in the middle of May.
So we got the encore presentation of Daddy, I Love Him, the movie that I shot. The premiere will be at Bel Air Movie Theater Friday, May 12th. And they sold out 2 theaters. I had a scheduling conflict before and couldn't be at the first premiere, but they are bringing it back. So make sure you come out and check that out. And again, go to my website, sign up for the newsletter, crystalpeteiscrazy.com, and that's Crazy. I know some people follow my Facebook page, but it's regular crazy.
Regular crazy. There's such a thing as regular crazy. Crystal P is crazy, CRAZY.com. Crystal P is crazy.com. If they go there, they can also find information on how to obtain tickets.
Yes, I'm gonna get that up. I'm waiting for the director to give me the final information on how people can get tickets, and I'll probably have tickets in my hand as well for those people that don't like to do the online thing. You know, we still have a lot of old school people. So, but if people go to my website, sign up for the newsletter, they'll get no spam, just emails on upcoming events. I've already booked next year's More Than the Eyes Can See show, so that's March 16th, 2024. A lot of people, we had about 650 people, so people are, so go there, you get your information.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you were up bright and early this morning, and I realize that you'll be sleeping other days, but I'm always up that time of morning. So do what you can to enjoy your birthday. We love you, and
I love you more.
Everybody go to crystalpeteiscrazy.com or continue to follow her on all of the social media. And happy birthday again, Crystal. We got to take a very quick break. When we come back, I'm going to start answering some of these calls for those of y'all that want to talk about the Urban League. It's a very quick break. We'll be right back.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I had no energy. for months and months and months. I had no energy, and I'm a very active person. And my husband was noticing that I was tired all the time, and I was slow at everything that I was doing. And I kept listening to the commercials. And, you know, you don't know if something's going to help you or not. But I decided this was something I was going to do. And lo and behold, in about 4 days to taking them, I was repotting plants. I was doing other things. My husband said to me, "You seem to have more energy." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine." And I'm telling you, nothing has ever made such a difference. So anyway, I'm very happy.
Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code RADIO5.
Attention! Do you owe back taxes, fines, and penalties to the IRS? The IRS now offers new relief options for taxpayers affected by COVID-19, but you can't go it alone. Call Tax Solutions now. Our team of former IRS agents and tax professionals can get you the best deal. We know the COVID-19 rules. Call us and never speak to the IRS again.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
The virus has caused the IRS to take extensive action to help taxpayers. So if you owe $10,000 or more, this is the best time in years to settle your tax debt.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
Remember, the IRS will not give up until you pay. Call 800-683-9499. 800-683-9499. 800-683-9499.
My 38 is offering a great special that cannot be refused. Are you looking for a great deal on TV advertising? Are you searching for an avenue to get your business name out to the public? With My 38, we are offering a great special with 100 commercial ads for a great price. This offers for a 30-day ad placement. Please contact Devin C. for more information at 248-357-4566 or email at d.calhoun@thewordnetwork.org. This excludes political ads.
The 910 AM live stream can now be seen on Apple TV, Roku, Chromecast, YouTube Red, iPhone, iPad, Android phone, Android tablet, Amazon Kindle Fire, any Windows phone, or watch us live at 910amsuperstation.com.
Welcome back, Metro Detroit. This is Kerry Leon Jackson, your urban conservative. You're listening to 910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only urban talk radio station. The number here in the studio is 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. If you just tuned in, the Urban League, in their regular annual effort to point out the state of Black America, has released a new report, and the new report points out that democracy for Blacks is under attack. That's this morning's subject. 313-778-7600. Let's go to the phones. Let's talk to James. Good morning, James. If we lost James, go to Fernando. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Kerry. Thank you for taking my call. I agree with the analogy of the Urban League, but I don't feel that the Urban League has been aggressive enough in working with younger people and implementing change or working to be more proactive in the things that we need taken care of, Terry. And I really feel that the Urban League should, again, be more expansive in trying to change the scope of Black America. And again, I agree with their analogy of what's taking place. And even here in Michigan, we've dealt with Governor John Engler and Rick Snyder, and both of those governors have done some of the things that you mentioned earlier.
See, when I was getting ready this morning, I was wondering that who was going to point that out. The one thing that I hadn't read is, said, now I wonder who's going to say it. Do I want to read it? Not just the, things like attacks on libraries and things like that, but when it gets to the part about state legislatures taking over majority Black cities, when I made those notes, I said, I wonder who's going to bring up Flint. I wonder who's going to bring up Benton Harbor. I wonder who's going to say we've had no same sort of governors here. So if you'll notice, I said these measures are happening in southern states. I said that for a reason. I said it because I didn't want to wind up spending part of the only 56 minutes I get in the morning rehashing what I've got to hear once a week, somebody complaining about what John England did in 1991, because it's 2023. All right. And so, you know, one of the other things that, you know, when I posted last night that was going to be today's subject, several folks said, well, wait a minute, they needed a study to know that. Yeah, y'all, come on now. We're in an American society where if they don't actually, I know what I see every day. I know what you see every day. But if it's not actually put in a study, people are able to say, I didn't know that was really happening. I didn't believe it. Remember this, until they put on Sunday evening TV, Black people being beat while they were walking across a bridge simply because they wanted to vote, until America saw it actually in their living rooms, they didn't believe that it happened. Until George Floyd had a foot on his a knee on his neck for 10 and a half, almost 11 minutes and died on video, folks didn't believe that it happened. So yeah, sometimes it requires that you actually got to do a study and that you've got to put everything together and say Blacks are being denied their opportunities for democracy. So yeah, we know that it's happened here. I'm just not sure. When you said the other thing about the Urban League, I'm not sure that that's the Urban League's job. I'm sure that, you know, if you look back, the fact that they do this report every year, it always leads to the, y'all have a state of Black America, and then you leave with the question, okay, we know what the problem is, now what you gonna do for it? There are organizations in our community, and let me tell you, I've been a part of these organizations where they said, you know, that's not our job, Kerry. We're not advocating for people. All we're doing is giving them information and resources and pushing them in that direction. Yeah, well, I agree that maybe there are organizations that should be a little bit more active in the community. There's a point when you got to figure out if that group ain't gonna do it, whether you start your own, whether we leave it in the church, somebody else has to pick up the ball and run with it.
Absolutely. And let me say this, Kerry. I feel if you know about these things and you're telling us, I feel that you have a right, not so much a right, but an obligation to take part in dismantling these type of situations.
I agree. Y'all, 313-778-7600. Do y'all agree with Fernando? Now we know that you every year told us, but the problem is, what the heck what efforts are you taking as an organization to do something about it? Are you just going to have a dinner every year and invite a bunch of politicians there and put 300 people in the room and say, this is the problem, we're handing you the report? Or are you actually going to go out in the community and do something to remove the guns from the hands of those people? Are you going to do anything to stop the violence? Are we going to stop those folks that have said we're going to make it harder to vote, and we're going to water down your vote, and we're going to erase your history? What are you doing to clear that problem up? I agree with you. Thanks a lot for calling. Let's go to Dorian. Good morning, Dorian.
Good morning, Kerry. Glad. Thank you for taking the call. Kind of like what Fernando just did. At the end of the day, what are Urban League? What are NAACP? What is any group? Why do we need a group? You know where this needs to start at the house. We keep talking about we need reports. We need to see it. If you don't know, listen, Helen Keller, probably woman been dead for 50 years to see what's going on right now. This is our fault because we keep waiting for groups or waiting for the other side. Other races, you think Jews care about what Mexicans doing?
Probably not.
Right. We're the only group that want a handout, worrying about everybody else, our perception. It's an old saying, man. You cannot live off of someone else's opinion in their how they view you. You got to do for yourself. And if we don't realize this is economics, education, and we got to eliminate the culture that we so hold, which one thing, the difference between the 60s and now, Your generation was more politically engaged. Y'all didn't have to have a lot of money. Y'all wasn't based off materialism. They're selling us consumerism now. More commercials, sales. So these young folks, the people who have the energy, they're supposed to go out here and protest and try to make these changes, whether at home or, in the streets. They're not doing it. They're not politically engaged like the previous generation. You're not going to see.
They're not only not politically engaged, you do go that there's somebody else on the line that every other day calls to say, I hate voting and I'm not going to vote. I'm not voting. When y'all know that I was born and raised in a house where every single person not only voted, everybody went out and did what you can to make sure that the elections ran smoothly. Every member.
I just explained this last week to a millennial, someone's 36, and I'm like, well, I don't vote. I'm like, listen, don't you know if any vote that you need to participate in is your local vote? I'm like, whoever the city council, whoever you could be in the suburbs, whoever the city manager, that matters. That matters. But see, politically unengaged, checking out, that's the problem. That's the reason why we're regressing, because the younger generation, my generation, spent a great deal of time materialistic, balling, blowing money.
And let me say this, not only that, they've spent all of that money, but I wonder how many of those folks that went out and spent the money on the things that you're talking about actually bothered to buy a membership in the Urban League or actually gone to an actual meeting for the Urban League. For those folks that want to call in and complain about the NAACP, have you actually bought a membership? I mean, it's one thing to go to that spring sit-down dinner down at Cobo Hall. Big deal. I'm glad y'all do it. They raise a lot of money every year. But if you're going to argue about what the organization hasn't done, have you actually gone to any of the meetings? Have you actually taken part in the organization? What have you actually done to make that organization, a little bit more effective in the community?
Kerry, that comes from being politically engaged. And actually, that comes just like your parents instilled that in you. My generation of parents, my peer group did not bring that over because we were caught up 80s, 90s, materialistic. We lost a lot of ground. And we saw blatant racism. And we did nothing but try to compete and compare ourselves to other races. And we'll get these high grade degrees and won't contribute anything back to the community. What is the point of you getting an education so you can look down on your fellow Black person? Yet you don't want to open up a 501c.
But here's the other thing. But Dorian, you started out well, because here's the thing. You also know there's Jerome's on the line. Whenever we wind up going to Jerome, the first thing he's going to do is blame those of us that went and got an education and say we all owe something to him, that we ain't done what he wants done in the community. We won't take up his individual calls. And the thing is, I got to tell you, you've heard me say it to him. Everybody I know that went to law school came out owing 60, 70, 100,000, some $200,000. What have you done to actually help them make any doggone money? So I don't know that those folks actually owe him anything.
That's what happens when you get caught up in the matrix of how they set this up. Yeah, you can high achieve educationally, but what is you bringing back to your community, your tribe, your group? Unfortunately, you're right, you're financially trapped. You have to work for your money. You don't have the time to you see what I'm saying? To achieve in this country is almost to forget your fellow man. That's how they sell it to us.
You're getting too deep for people at 6:30 in the morning. They ain't gonna understand that, Dorian. It's 6:30. Folks ain't had their first cup of coffee yet, brother. They just now scratching some of the sleep out their eyes. Man, I gotta go to break. Thanks for calling this morning. 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600. We'll take the second break of the morning. It's a very quick break. We'll be right back.
Did you know most vitamin supplements don't even come from food? Even the products with colorful fruits and vegetables adorning the labels are seldom derived from produce. Typically, supplements are synthetic, made in a laboratory. Modern science may synthetically imitate these chemicals, but your body isn't fooled. It knows the difference, and it craves quality materials to build, repair, and fight illness. You need to consume fruits and vegetables daily in a variety of colors, as well as whole grains and other fresh food. That's why I formulated Balance of Nature. I wanted to be able to give my patients a natural alternative to the cheap, unnatural chemistry by giving them real fruits and vegetables. In fact, the only ingredients inside a Balance of Nature are whole fruits and vegetables. Don't settle for imitation nutrition. Reach for the good stuff, the real stuff.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order by using discount code RADIO5.
Have you thought about advertising your business on our 9 10 a.m. Superstation? Our audience is bigger than ever, and your investment will be lower than ever. Find out how you can grow your business. Give us a call during business hours and ask for Henry, 248-357-4566. We will tell your story, and more folks than ever before will come to your door. 248-357-4566. Ask for Henry. The super audience at our 910 Superstation wants to hear about you. Call now. The all-new 910 Superstation is your #1 source for urban talk radio. If you're looking for the best in radio programming, look no further. You can now listen in on a multitude of audio platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Listen Notes, and coming soon to Amazon Music, Goodpods, and Overcast. 910 a.m. Superstation, the largest, strongest, 50,000-watt urban radio station in town. 910 a.m. Superstation has the greatest advertising deal ever with our Godfather package. 100 spots for $600, but they must air within 30-day policy, and we will even produce the spots free. That's right, free. Call Devin C. now at 248-357-4566. That's 248-357-4566. Or email at d.calhoun@thewordnetwork.org. This excludes political ads.
WADL gets a facelift and is now My 38 Detroit. Along with a facelift comes new programming. On Mondays at 8 p.m., catch a 2-hour block of Law and Order SVU. Tuesdays, Chicago Fire. Wednesdays, Dateline. More Dateline and Chicago PD on Thursdays and on Fridays. You'll get more Chicago PD to start your weekend. We'll still have some of your favorite shows like Mom, Blackish, and Friends. Just adding more for you to enjoy on My 38.
Welcome back, Metro Detroit. This is Kerry Leon Jackson, your urban conservative. You're listening to 910 a.m. Superstation, Metro Detroit's only urban talk radio station. The number here in the studio is 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. Let's talk to Carl. Good morning, Carl. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Now, here's the thing. It's nothing wrong with the Urban League putting out a report like that. I understand it, but it's not for everybody, not for all black folks. It's really for black folks who have the stench of slavery on them and refuse, like the last caller said, to participate in the political system, understanding your history. All what they're doing, their sentence would have never got into power if black people in Florida showed up to vote. Snyder here, all over, Donald Trump, you name it. So here's the thing. If we sit up here and all what they're doing is doing what? Invoking segregation laws. That's all they're doing. Basically, the same old playbook. And who does this? You might hate what I got to say. Racist people, racist white folks. That's all it is. How you going to destroy history? You can't destroy history. You know the history. You think he don't know the history of Florida? So as black people emerge themselves and understand the history of our country and what has happened to your people, you'll be just fine. You have to treat this country like some other foreigners that come here. They already know the history of America. And a lot of our people walking around here refuse to realize that it's not just for you, it's for your children. One day you're going to die. What kind of future you're going to leave and knowledge you're going to leave to your kids? That's what I'm saying. And it's very simple. America is so easy to figure out, but you have to understand that our country. You need to know what's going on, all these laws that they put in place. This country has always passed slave laws, slave fugitive act laws, segregation laws. Black people couldn't do this. That's very simple. I understand that. Nobody ain't got to tell me nothing of that. These young folks and some of our old heads out here, they just keep doing nothing. It's no reason that you don't supposed to have a passport in this country, you're a citizen of this country, and vote. I mean, only a few days out the year. Really. That's all it has to do.
Carl, help me understand. How does getting a passport solve the problem of blacks not being treated equally in this country?
No, that's not the thing. What I'm saying about as a citizen of the country, you know, there's always been forces against you. What I'm saying is so you can travel abroad, a passport. That's part of being a citizen of this country. You know what? I tell you like this. What makes this country, the country, you try to like this country some type of way. But when you see people, grown folks, politicians sit there and lie and talk about the history and twist it and distort it, and you know the truth, you know, what I'm saying is the passport, because that's what all black folks should have that.
So let me ask you a question, Jerome. When was the last time you received a summons to go serve on jury duty?
I received a summons 2 years ago.
Did you
but
go?
That was on COVID. No, I didn't go to COVID. No, that was COVID then. No,
Okay.
I didn't go. Before that, I did it like 4 years ago.
And you went down, did they allow you to serve? Did you spend the whole day down there? Did they wind up putting you on the jury?
Yeah, I was on the jury, but they dismissed it. They dismissed the case. That's what it was. But anytime I'm retired, so anytime I go, I have no problem doing that whatsoever. I participate in a lot of
When you go vote, how many people do you put in the car with you?
It'd be me, my wife, and I make sure my kids. When Obama was running, we had a whole bunch of young folks. Trump.
So even if Obama's not running, what do we have to do to get you to take a bunch of young folks with you again? I appreciate what happened during Obama's time. That was a great big turnout. But brother, we've got to keep people just as engaged now as they were then.
Yeah, but I said during Trump, half of the young folks went. I have a lot of nieces and nephews. Half of them went this time. You see what I'm saying? So I always take young folks with me. I make sure all my kids, folks, they understand that. You know, you have to, because we're a group. It's a number. We're a group of people in this country. We got to look at ourselves as a group, and we have to come in numbers. Period. That's all it's about right there.
I agree that we've got to come in numbers. I'm with you on that. I just think that, listen, if you don't take anything else away from this report, you take away from the report that we can't trust or even wait for somebody else to help solve the problem. We got to do the thing ourselves. We can't worry about if, in fact, the Urban League has written a report every year on the state of Black America, and if every year the report is the state is gloomy, it's not going good, we've got to do something to change that. Even if it's nothing else other than take over that organization and make them do something to improve our position, then I think that's what we need to do. Thanks for calling. Let me knock out some more callers, brother. 313-778-7600. Let me talk to PG. Good morning, PG. How are you?
Good morning. Happy TGI Monday. Terry, you're going to have to ask that question over and over again to a lot of these callers.
Then I will ask it over and over again because we got to do something.
It is appalling how people call in and every other piece of their rhetoric is a buzzword or a buzz phrase, and it doesn't quite fit in with the messaging. Now, Dr. Martin Luther King wrote a book, and he said in several speeches, why we can't wait. Why we can't wait is because we know all the data, we have all the solutions, we are not implementing those solutions. Why we can't wait. Terry, we don't come out with the Black agenda. We need a seat at the table until a damn election. After the election, after the people that we vote in get elected, you don't hear nothing about the kitchen, the table, the food, the chair until the next election. Why we can't wait? Because democracy is under attack for Black people, and it has been for Latinos. Why we can't wait? I can keep telling you all kinds of reasons as to why we can't wait. But Terry, people are not looking at the fact that most of these organizations that are lifelong Black organizations started in my city, in New York City, early 1906, early 1910. The purpose of those groups was for economic empowerment to Blacks, for social justice, and to fight racism and discrimination. And when those organizations were doing the job, go back and look at the data. That's when the boards were interracial. As soon as we just got rid of everybody that wasn't Black under the auspices that only Blacks can help us and only Blacks can be about.
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. It just hit me. So your solution is that we've got to make sure that we integrate all of these other segments of society and that's the solution?
No, I'm not saying that's the solution. I'm talking about the fact that the Urban League has been around since 1910.
Correct.
And the NAACP 1906. You yourself just said to the caller, I don't know which name he was.
Don't worry about it. Keep going.
Okay. That the purpose of these organizations was to help us. Now, the NAACP has their annual chicken dinner every year for the Freedom Fund. How many causes are those lawyers that represent the NAACP fighting for? They're not helping the people get the $600 million overcharge. They're not helping with the Voting Rights Expansion Act. They're not helping with the Crown Act. They're not helping with the George Floyd Policing Act. So what is the organization doing with the Freedom Fund money? We know that.
Again, listen, y'all know that we regularly get folks that call in here and complain about the local Detroit chapter of the NAACP. And I ask the same question over and over again as who actually have joined the organization, who's gone to any of the meetings, have you taken part in any of the committees? That organization runs the way that the rest of them do. If you are a voting member, you get a chance to vote on who's on what board and who the chairperson is going to be. You get a chance to set the policy, the direction of that organization. But if you're not part of the organization, all you get a chance to do is to sit home and complain about it. If you actually care about that organization and what that organization does, whether it's the Urban League, whether it's the NAACP, whether it's New Detroit or any of the other ones, you gotta get off the couch and go be part of the group.
I was a member of other than the New Detroit organization that you spoke about, I was a member of all of those groups. I attended all the meetings, supported all the funds that they had, supported the dinners, tried to give my few little dollars to make a difference. And Terry, those organizations have gotten so political. They have gotten so friends and family hookups. They don't want an outsider that can make a difference to be the difference.
I don't know if so is the answer just give up because the people that are currently in charge are entrenched, or is the way that you wind up taking over the organization is say, I'm glad y'all figured that out. I also know the same thing. I'm going to bring 40 of my friends. I'm going to pay for a bunch of the $10, the $25 memberships. I'm going to make sure that my group of people are actually voting members, and we're going to vote out the people that are not doing anything.
Terry, I've seen that done too. I've seen that done over the years, and in just about every city, Democratic club and county club, you bring in the folks and sign them up so that they can vote 30 days before the election. That's why the groups are not being as productive and as solution driven as they should.
There's got to be a solution. I got to go to break. I got to go to break, PG. But the truth is, we've got to do something. Just saying, oops, I'm throwing my hands up, that group doesn't work. I don't see that as the solution. 313-778-7600. We've got to take the last break of the morning, and we'll be right back.
Do you
you have an idea for an invention or new product? Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Then call InventHelp now. InventHelp keeps your idea confidential and explains every step of the invention process. We create professional materials representing your idea and submit it to companies who are looking for new ideas. We have more than 9,000 companies who've agreed to review ideas in confidence. If a company shows interest in manufacturing your invention, we can negotiate on your behalf. We have helped over 10,000 clients receive patents. We also offer services including 3D modeling and animation demonstrating your idea, prototyping services, and we use state-of-the-art technology to show InventHelp client ideas to additional companies. Join the thousands of people just like you who chose InventHelp to pursue their idea. We are experienced. We are working for you. We are InventHelp.
Call us for free information at 1-800-460-1663. That's 1-800-460-1663. Again, 1-800-460-1663.
The Word Network has been broadcasting inspirational messages around the world since the year 2000, and we keep getting bigger and better and more innovative, seen all around the world. We bring you the best teaching, impartation, singing, and inspiration. If you want original programming, we have that too. The Word Network is your exclusive source for all things inspiration, and we can be found on every device imaginable. If you want to be uplifted and inspired, you need the Word Network.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I had no energy for months and months and months. I had no energy, and I'm a very active person. And my husband was noticing that I was tired all the time, and I was slow at everything that I was doing. And I kept listening to the commercials. And, you know, you don't know if something's going to help you or not. But I decided this was something I was going to do. And lo and behold, in about 4 days to taking them, I was repotting plants. I was doing other things. My husband said to me, "You seem to have more energy." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine." And I'm telling you, nothing has ever made such a difference. So anyway, I'm very happy.
Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code RADIO5.
My 38 is offering a great special that cannot be refused. Are you looking for a great deal on TV advertising? Are you searching for an avenue to get your business name out to the public? With My 38, we are offering a great special with 100 commercial ads for a great price. This offer is for a 30-day ad placement. Please contact Devin C. for more information at 248-357-4566 or email at d.calhoun@thewordnetwork.org. This excludes political ads.
Welcome back, Metro Detroit. This is Kerry Leon Jackson, your urban conservative. Let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Kenny. Good morning, Kenny. How are you?
Good morning, my brother. I mean, you hear it all, man. You hear everything that people are saying. They say this, say that, man. But I'm like you, man. We don't pull. It's no more bootstraps. You know, black people, we have a lot of complaining, but we won't get out and do the things we need to do to save ourselves. A lot of stuff that we complain about, we can do for ourselves. You know, we won't build each other up. And, you know, and it's sad that it's like that. It's like when I go down to city council meeting every Tuesday and speak about certain situations, people come on there and say, "You're wasting your time." But I'm going to go down there and hold their feet to the fire. Because one thing, you remember how your parents say, tell you stuff and then say, "Don't say you didn't know." Because I told you right then. Well, that's how I do with them. You know, I know how they are down there. Until we get out and vote them people out and put some people in that's going to fight for us, the only way it's going to happen is we have to just keep doing it and keep doing it until we get it right. Because we got grandkids and great-grandkids that's going to be behind us. And that's who I'll be fighting for. I'm fighting for them, my grandkids and great-grandkids, man. So I'm not going to hold it. I know you're short on time, but hang in there, my brother. Stay focused, and all we can do is keep fighting.
All right, brother. We love you. We always sending our prayers and love to you and your family members. especially in the fight for justice at some point in time. But I think that you'd probably appreciate it more if we wound up stopping some of this violence on the street. I know that there are a few people out there that are fighting to try and end violence in our community. Let's hope that we can get a lot more of them actively involved. Thanks for calling this morning. Let's talk to New Tim. Good morning, Tim.
Hello, and good morning, you, and good morning, and I'm enjoying your conversation. You know, I understand what the Urban League put out there, but they're not giving no solutions and things like that. Maybe it's a time of leadership. I mean, new leadership for the ones, for the organizations that are out there that they're supposed to be helping us. You know, I'm a firm believer in term limits. Say you got the same person who that's been in charge of NAACP since I joined the NAACP. You know, it's a time for new leadership and new direction. You know, maybe they can put out a list of how we should be doing things instead of just putting out the list of the state affairs of Black people.
Here's the question. Plenty of folks have called the report that was put out by the Urban League. We've got a number of callers that have called in with dissatisfaction with how a particular chapter of the NAACP is run. And I had to ask again, for the folks that have decided that they don't like that organization, are you a member of the organization? Have you actually sent them a membership check? And have you actually gone to part in any of the committees of that organization? Whether it is, listen, they do a little bit more than just plan that dinner with 10,000 people eating rubber chicken at Cobo Hall. The organization does a lot more stuff now. Y'all listen, if you've listened to me over the years, you know, I can complain about whether or not they actually send the written publication out on a regular basis. The truth is now we're in an era where all of the information you want to find out about what's going on, whether it's in the white community or the Black community, is at your fingertips. You don't have to wait for the magazine to come once a month, or, you know, they might skip a month and then send 3 of them out at one time. We're not stuck waiting for that magazine to come anymore. Now, most of this stuff is available online. I get it that a particular chapter might not run the way that you want it to run. But again, if you want an organization to do something different than what you're doing, you got to take part in that organization and you got to change it. Again, I've sat on boards of Black-run organizations when people came in and they had a specific problem that they needed help with. And I've seen other folks, Black folks, allegedly successful Black folks, sit there and say, but Kerry, that's not our job. We can't take that on for them. We're not here to fight for them. We can just give them information and send them out the door. Yeah, these folks didn't come in and ask for help because they've heard no over and over again. There's a point when you've got to actually do something to try and help them. There are, though, I agree with you, there are plenty of people in those sort of positions on boards and committees and things like, and elected officials in our community that think our job is simply to tell you what the options are and not to do anything, when you actually need real help and you need somebody to actually fight for you or to keep your kid in school and things like that. I know that there are plenty of folks like that, but then there's enough people out there like you that are willing to go and work with substance abuse people on a regular basis every day, that some people offer real help. Complaining about it is not going to do any good. Offering real help, actually doing something to change the lives of the people in our community, that's what I think we all need to be doing.
Yes, and I agree with everything you said. Something, I mean, it's a new era now. You know, the way they did it back then, it's time for it to change because it's not working. You know, if we be honest with ourselves and the people who are members of those organizations, they got to be honest with themselves, and they got to see that that cannot work. It's a time of leadership. That's why they have term limits on everything but organizations like that. You know, the president of the United States, he has a term limit. The government in Michigan, they have a term limit. And it should be some type of term limit. Even though I'm no longer a member of that organization, you know, there should be a...
The only way, let's be clear. Again, I understand what you're saying about a term limit for the current chair of a Black-run organization here in town. But again, other than y'all just calling me, you gotta join that organization. You then, the term limit is if enough people have decided that that person shouldn't be chair anymore and he shouldn't be head of that organization, then it's the members of that organization that have to move it. The same as if you decide that a particular church, you don't like that minister, you can't do anything about it if you ain't a member of that church. You've got to wind up joining that church, get on the board, have a voice, and then remove that minister. You can't just decide from sitting at home that you don't like what that particular organization does or that the chair of that organization does, unless you are a real money spending, paying active member of that organization, and you wind up getting a slate of people like yourselves who think like you think it's time for new leadership and it's change. So you can't just keep calling about it, y'all. Y'all got to do something about it. I'm out of time, brother. Thanks for calling this morning. Ms. Leona, I was trying to get to you and several of the other callers. I've run out of time. Y'all know the tomorrow morning show, Tuesday morning show is always pre-recorded. Wednesday morning, Thursday, Friday will be live and in person. You will all have me here, and I'll be ready to talk to each and every one of y'all then. So it is 36 degrees. That is cold outside. It's not really cold compared to 20 below zero, but it's 36 degrees outside today. The high today is going to be in the 50s. Listen, just do what you can to wind up trying to have a great day, meaning wear a sweater and a jacket if you're heading out the door anytime soon. I look forward to talking to each and every one of y'all Wednesday morning live and in person. Y'all have a great day. I'll talk to you later.